Florida Congressman and candidate for governor in Florida, Byron Donalds, is a member of that committee. Congressman, good to have you back. What do you think happened here? I know the investigation hasn't begun yet, but do you think it had anything to do with the Somalian fraud happening not only interstate, but in many cases interdistrict?
Well, look, it's good to be with you this evening. I don't want to go that far because right now House Oversight is still investigating the Somali fraud in her district and other parts of the state of Minnesota. And, you don't want to really conflate the two. But when it comes to Representative Omar, I mean, look, going from whatever was it, 50,000 to 30 million? I mean, that's wild. Never seen anything like that. And so now House Oversight, we're going to get to the bottom of this while also making sure we get to the bottom of the fraud that was going on in Minneapolis. We're not going to let either of these issues get away.
I appreciate you're not conflating the two, but doesn't it just seem interesting, we'll say, that in a year and a half time, her reported earnings, again, these are federal documents, you have to submit the same documentation as a member of Congress. She had like 50 grand, and then suddenly she has 30 grand. And then in her state, in some cases, again, allegedly in her district as well, we've got billions and billions of dollars that Somalian fraudsters have stolen. Do you think that's just a wild coincidence?
It's wild. It makes no sense. I don't want to go as far as saying that she was taking that money from the federal taxpayer because that's just not clear at this point.
Right.
But I see why everybody has a high degree of skepticism, and that's why we're going to investigate this. And as soon as we start getting those findings, we'll be releasing that to the public.
Okay, take a look at how she's responding to these accusations.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
Okay, so she says she's being targeted. Are you targeting her, or are you just looking at someone who might have broken the law?
No, we're just going to look into the facts of whether or not the law has been broken, and that's common sense. That's what we should be doing up here on Capitol Hill. And so I would think, especially considering how there's been questions about this for quite some time, very public questions. The fact that she was at CBS having to answer that kind of stuff, she probably could have just been more forthcoming. But now it's in the hands of oversight, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, Donald Trump on Truth Social, she should be in jail or even worse punishment, sent back to Somalia. So I guess I'm just wondering how sweeping your investigation is going to be. Are you going to look into the accusations that she married her brother to get him into this country?
It's very possible, but I think it's important for everybody to understand when we were going through all the investigations with the Biden crime family, at that time I was very clear we're going to continue to follow the evidence. We're not going to try to create a lot of innuendos about where the evidence is going to take us, but when the evidence is clear, we will be letting everybody know what we find.
Okay, let me just ask you this, and where this could go, because Democrats could win back the House, and a year from today, you could be in the minority. Democrats could win the Senate. Okay, that could happen. So this investigation's got to be fast. Could you see this ending with Ilhan Omar being censured or maybe expelled from Congress, like Byron Donalds, not Byron Donalds, I'm sorry, Congressman, like George Santos, who 110 Republicans voted for, or maybe recommending charges to the DOJ or even denaturalization? Is that all on the table here?
All these things are possible, but it's very hard to comment because we're at the beginning. And so I would say if you're going to play this out to the worst level where Representative Omar, basically lied on her naturalization documents to be able to come into the country, et cetera. She was a part of this fraud in Minnesota, et cetera. Yes, that could definitely lead to the same fate that followed George Santos.
Yeah. And, Donald Trump has been clear that any Somalian found guilty of a felony of stealing from taxpayers in Minnesota faces possible denaturalization, which would presumably include somebody like Ilhan Omar, of course. We're way ahead of that, but if she is found guilty of anything in a court of law, that seemingly would be on the table. Congressman, good to see you again tonight. Good luck with the investigation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.